Flight Boss, bitch, you know, for sure. You're not listening to the Mind Evident Terry's Moon, Flight Boss, the Archangel Uriel, and I'm here to carry out God duties and motherfucking responsibilities. And right now, we're going to talk about what is the Andromeda influence? What are Andromedian beings? Now, before you get into anything, this is what you have to understand first. Now, we need to understand that your soul is nothing but an individual spirit. So, since you have your own individuality, right, that is your individual spirit. So, that becomes your soul. Now, we need to understand this. Now, it plays off as a frequency vibration between the two realms, and that creates a light source. So, this light source, call it your shapeless, formless, odorless, non-flammable gas, spirit or conscious. You see what I'm saying? And you know, ancients used to call it the smokeless flame. You see what I'm saying? Now, based upon the vessels you take and based upon your travels, you get to accumulate more molecules and particles and things of that nature that expand your shapeless, formless, odorless, non-flammable gas, your smokeless flame. You see what I'm saying? Now, these particles and elements and things of that nature that's adding to it plays off as information. Now, information is realms of realities and experiences. Like you are experiencing now, you are experiencing forms and shapes of information. Now, for the most part, based upon each vessel that you take, you get to perceive more. So now you in the third dimension. So think you perceiving things from a third dimensional brain that you have made for your smokeless flame. Now look at it like this. Look at it now, smokeless flame. I'm just call it your spirit and conscious from now on. Now, for the most part, look at all the vessels you can inhabit in this dimension, in the third dimension. These are all vessels that you have experienced previously or getting ready to experience because you could perceive it. You see what I'm saying? And this is what gives you understanding because it's in the same dimensional level of perception. So for an example, you see bugs, animals, and all type of things and trees. These are all vessels you can take into the third dimension. Now when you look at things like the sun and the planets and stuff like that, reason why you can't fully understand it and you only could perceive partial aspects of it is because these are not totally third dimensional objects. So you can only perceive, since the fourth and the fifth dimension and so on, since they hold constructs of the third dimension, then since you're in the third dimensional vessel, you're able to receive, aka perceive, the third dimensional attributes from it. But that's as far as you can go until you receive enough information to expand your smokeless flame, your shapeless, formless, odorless, non-flammable gas, aka your spirit, your conscious, till you experience enough situations and circumstances and ways, shapes, and forms in this vessel. And if you are willing to learn and gain wisdom, this is called rising above, and you're able to reach another egg and come out into the same and be able to take or inhabit a vessel in another dimension, depending on how fast you're willing to learn. Now once you understand that right there, now we want to talk about the Andromeda. Now Andromeda is a fourth dimensional energy. It's a fourth dimensional aspect. Now believe it or not, Andromeda is one of the reasons why we have the star constellation Virgo. You see what I'm saying? Because a lot of things that we had to endure as being like a dragon's, mermaid, snake-like, serpent-like being in this higher world. Because when you're looking at constellations, things of that nature, this is how, and brain waves, aka star gamma rays and light sheds and light patterns and things, this is when you start to understand is things in higher frequencies and vibrations and dimensions. So these are higher realms, higher worlds. So when you want to start, when someone want to say show me proof, you cannot physically describe a fourth or fifth dimensional being in a third dimensional aspect in a way that a person will understand it from a third dimensional brain that they have built for their smokeless flame, their only third dimensional spirit that they got, that they're not willing to perceive other things that's out of this realm, out of this constellation. You see what I'm saying? But for the most part, when you want to talk about influences, a fourth dimensional being, this is a higher world. Now they do have physicality and they do have shape and form, but that will be another video for me to break it down for y'all in y'all third dimensional brain for y'all to understand it. You see what I'm saying? But for the most part, these are fourth dimensional beings. So they come in a lot of fourth dimensional aspects, the Andromedian beings. And with the aspects and all the star constellations, aka and all the star systems that's in Andromeda, these are all the beings. So you know, they take different organs and organisms and organizations in order to create circumstances that's dealing with fourth dimensional energy. Now, fourth dimensional energy itself is like technology, understanding the power of rotation and relativity and relatives, you know what I'm saying, and what's relative to you, understanding circumstances and situations, understanding time, that's in the best way that's perceived to the location and the space that you're in the astral realm, or where Earth is located and things of that nature. So all these things are fourth dimensional information. So this is how this person comes. I mean, these beings come. Now these beings make up a being, and this will be called the whole constellation of Andromeda. Now Andromeda is part of a royal celestial family. Now when we say royal celestial family, that means the bigger the body, the more stars, the more constellations, the bigger the shapeless, formless, odorless odorless, non-flammable gas, aka the smoke is flame, aka a person's conscious or spirit. A person who's dealing with a big spirit, big conscious, can inhabit more things, can inhabit more constellations than one, to the point that you can outline it and it becomes a being. We know all organisms become organs, all organs become organizations, and that become a whole body in itself. Same, that's what you are. It's micro, macro. You see what I'm saying? So everything is stars, from a particle to a neutron star. That's what you need to understand. All these different names and different things that scientists try to put on it, they just all have different traits. Same way there's no two snowflakes the same, there's no two planets the same, there's no two stars the same, there's no two humans the same, there's no two bugs the same. Just different waves. And once you understand waves and try to perceive a specific wave, that's when it becomes separate and a particle, and it becomes whatever shape or form you wanted it to be. But that's another video. But as far as when we want to talk about the Andromedas, and the constellation itself is part of a royal family. Now, these celestial bodies, it's enough constellations and enough stars and influences that's working together for these to be inhabited, and could be vessels that could be inhabited by men and women, real men, women like beings. You know what I'm saying? Not no snake dragon like beings we are in, and the only form of men, real men, women like traits you have is just as far as you could perceive. But what you're truly in, this is not truly the full effects of real men and women. You see what I'm saying? The only form of information you have built on from your Aries through Pisces body and the being that you in was forms of from real men, women, was form of thought, communication, and fourth dimensional information. Was going in the realm of thought, not being always in your animal lower nature. You have form to be able to conceive when you in fear, conceive when something is wrong, conceive circumstances, situations. See, these is developed by real men and women like beings. But what we are in, as far as the being we are in, we are truly in a dragon snake like being. We're not in a real man like. We're just receiving as much aspect as we can based upon our interactions with these in that realm, in that higher world. You know what I'm saying? But for the most part, when you talk about the Andromeda, the constellation itself, it was born from a celestial family of Cepheus and Cassiopeia. Now these constellations is Cepheus is a king, Cassiopeia is a queen in that realm of reality. So just look at it like this. Look at anybody who hold any higher prestige than you in this realm of reality. You'll look at people like the elites, the presidents, things of that nature. You look at them as people who hide, or a very successful person. You hold these people as very high prestige. So whatever name you got for them, like a star or a president, whatever like that, you know, when you look at it like this, it's like the same form. It's all about energy vibration. It ain't about the actual words. It's about the frequency. So that's what they represent, kings and queens, as far as these celestial bodies. Now, Andromeda is the daughter, so she's a princess. She's a daughter of the Cepheus constellation. So if you want to look at it from scientific terms in astronomy, let's just say the star constellation Cepheus had influences and attracted and combined it with the star constellation Cassiopeia, and out of those combining, you got the grouping of stars and the creation of the constellation Andromeda. Now, say you want to take it from a right brain point of view and get more metaphysical a little bit. This will be a grouping of organs coming together. So it is beings in a higher world. So we will look at two energetic influence. We will look at a positive energy. Let's say that'll be Cepheus, based upon what space and location or what side it was on, relative to Cassiopeia. Now Cassiopeia will be the female influence. When they came together as a frequency vibration and became a source together, the star constellation or the influences or what they created as a baby, out of that was the Andromeda constellation. Now look at the energetic force of look at the energy of it like this. Now it's a princess. Now it's a young girl. Now she don't really know that much of the ways of the world, but she's spoiled because she's raised in royalty, right? So look, now think about the energy and how you will feel and the attitude, and kind of size up a person in your mind, a person that's a young girl that's raised and spoiled, super spoiled, right? And she's very young, so she don't understand the effect that she may have on others, and her going out in the world or going to school and things of that nature, and her actions. Now look at that as a movie. Now that energetic force right there will be the actual bottling up of the influence of the Andromeda energy. Then it plays out through the Aries constellation, because see, we have to get filters. We're not in that realm, we're in the third dimension. So the closest stars and the influence we have close to us is just the Aries through Pisces as the being we are in, and then the soul that's in it, that's traveling within it, the solar system. You see what I'm saying? Now, so we have to catch it through influences. So we have to catch it through fourth dimensional prospects, because remind you, we're still an animal being, and the only kind of fourth dimensional influence we have is what we have as now, what we think is smart technology and things. But this is truly not nothing. This shit been here before and been passed down from star systems to star systems. You see what I'm saying? Now the elites and everybody know what the fuck I know. It's y'all dumbass motherfuckers who don't know what the fuck the real shit is going on. This wouldn't even be a science if this wasn't in the world in some way, shape, or form. Now, when you talk about Andromeda coming down in fourth dimensional aspects, she likes to come down in influences of the energy of Aries and Taurus, because this is the backdrop of the Aries and Taurus star constellation. So look at yourself now as us being in this whole being, right? Correlated to yourself. Let's say that the Aries constellation part of your body is your head, and the Taurus constellation part of your body is your neck, and reaching where your voice box at, and your volume, and how much volume and how much stuff you value. Okay, now these two areas right here, right? These star constellations. Now say outside of us, we didn't got influences from this Andromeda being, right? So this Andromeda being, which was a young girl, as us being young animal dragons or whatever like that, however she didn't try to kill us, or however we was related to her or whatever like that, whether she petted us, treat us like a pet or whatever, the influences we got helped build the Virgo constellation, and right now the influences right now that we get, the best way we know how to receive those influences is through the Taurus and the Aries constellation, which is your head space and then your volume space. Now, describe these two spaces to me. When you think, when you have sight, when you hear, when you talk verbally and do things of that nature, what area of your body that's coming from? Your head space, right? Now, these are fourth dimensional aspects. Thought, sight. Well, sight, not too much, but hearing. Being able to use your voice and have volume for the things, expressing the things that you value. Now we get into the Taurus part, right? So we receive fourth dimensional, which is aka the Andromeda constellation. We receive those influences in the best ways through the backdrop. The backdrop is through these constellations. So when you look at it from the whole being we in, as the serpent, Tiamat, dragon being, mermaid being we in, right? Her influences that she getting from the real woman, the real daughter, the real girl, Andromeda, the influences that she getting, right, will impact her in her headspace from things that she see, hear, things that she can communicate or whatever like that. So this is how we receive that fourth dimensional. As you see how it's like we're building a brain. And you would know your place in the world if you really understood astrology in a real, not just how people try to correlate it to it's just NATOs and it's just things trying to influence us, how it impact us. Or no, that's not what it was genuinely. But these are aspects from it. These are sciences from it. But when you really understand energy, you really understand how things is really made and where things came from and where real hierarchies is at. And you would know that your God ain't nothing but an idea from a Lord, which is a lore life form, a lore. Just because something above you doesn't necessarily mean that's not under something higher than that. You will understand these concepts when you understand astrology. But for the most part, when the Andromeda is going to come in these influences. So a lot of times you may feel the effects of the Andromeda when someone is acting like a bitch, when someone is nagging, or when someone is being overly aggressive when things are not going their way, or when they're not manifesting the material or the practical things that makes them feel comfortable. Remind you, the energetic backdrop influences is Aries and Taurus. You see what I'm saying? So that's how you're going to receive the information, but that's almost how it likes to come through. Now, you could be a person from Andromeda, aka if you land on a Pacific degree in Aries or Taurus that correlates with being that correlates with being filtered through Andromeda. You know what I'm saying? Or you could be used as a vessel, a person who just resonate with this energy. But see, once you understand astrology, you understand that it takes steps further. Situations and circumstances are a ball of elements and energy also. So you could be in certain circumstances or situations, or in certain locations or certain work fields or certain areas that consist and vibrate on the frequency of that energy also. You see what I'm saying? So energy plays out through many different shapes and forms, but by us being in lesser life forms and in a third dimension, this is the best way we can perceive it. So, you know, anytime somebody's coming maybe overly aggressive, maybe not being able to get a person who got this sense of pride, like a sense of like they already really deserve what they're supposed to get, and if they don't get it, then it's a problem. You know, people who got this kind of energy and things of that nature, they're carrying the influences of an Andromeda. You see what I'm saying? So that's the natural energetic forces of Andromeda. So don't be on the internet listening to everybody, these robot people that be on the things of that nature, and all these other things that try to tell you what they don't even know how to describe energy. Like, they don't even be knowing astrology and energy themselves. And then you'll be seeing everybody on the comment section, oh, this is me, I'm an Andromeda, I'm an Andromeda. Yet they don't got no stars or planets that's even influenced or in a degree of Andromeda, or they may be used as a vessel and not know it. And then hopefully that's a good Andromedan, because it could lead you into a video like Archangel Uriel, and then you could realize, like, okay, that Andromeda led me to find my real star heritage, my real star seed heritage, and things of that nature. But you would never know that unless you really get into it, and not just be told by people who hide their faces with robots and things of that nature just to describe an energetic force that they don't even know energy themselves to even know where to start from to describe something. See, that's the whole point. You got to know where to start from to even know how to build on it to describe it. And you got so much sciences out here nowadays that's built off other build-offs. So you will go somewhere thinking you learned something, but you just learning what another person had learned, because they learned that from 10 other different ways of people who done made that up. So you got to be very careful when you think about man laws and books and words and stuff. And once you understand energy, you'll understand where that source came from in general. And therefore, you won't even necessarily have to learn the full extent of whatever you're getting into, because you will know what is the frequency vibration, what is backed and supported by. So you will know if it's something that your spirit need to be in or not. And you will be able to describe it better than the people who didn't learned it for 20 years. You see what I'm saying? You got people who would listen to what I'm saying, right, and go to school for 20 years just for their teacher 20 years later to tell them what I'm talking about now. So now they just got certificates and titles to go teach about something that they learned that I already know. When we can skip all those processes. This is why the world is changing. You see what I'm saying? The world is revolving into a whole different, and you're supposed to utilize your logic for your right brain. Utilize your left brain for your right brain. Not go to left brain, but not go to right brain. And create some type of center piece. Therefore, you will understand all the energies that come from the frequency and vibration realms. The spirit and the soul realm. The rainbow water realm. Because both of those coming together and bouncing off each other is what create light, what create source. This is how you even had information to even make a fluorescent light, or to make a spark. This is why they even had the idea that you could put a needle and plug in something with it, some lemon juice, and create electrical spark from it. Because it's a source. See what I'm saying? So once you understand source and energy, you can make that in any way, shape, or form. Flight boss, bitch. Goddamn air.